The harbour is the focal point of Visby, and sailing is a favourite pastime for tourists and residents alike. And although Gotland may be an island, it's just a ferry ride from Finland and the mainland of Sweden, and only 30 minutes by air from Stockholm. This then is the setting for the main match, this week featuring Bizarna versus Vetlanda. Let's take a look at the lineup. Starting first with Bizarna, their number one is a familiar face. That's Reading's British League star Per Jonsson, who's pretty hard to beat on his home track here in Gotland. Number two is Lasse Andersson, who joined Bizarna in 1986 when he left Germana. Tony Olsen is another Reading racer who has been in outstanding form recently, and he's also a resident on the island of Gotland. Kenneth Lindby is just 20 and he came up from the 50cc class and is a rider to watch for in the near future. Brian Carger rides for Swindon in the British League, so it's no surprise that he's heat leader status for Bizarna. Dennis Lufqvist is the son of the late Christer Lufqvist. Dennis is just 21 and was fourth in last year's Swedish final. Mika Lundqvist is the cousin to Dennis and seems to ride well on his home track but has lost a bit of interest away from home. Christian Holtgren is at number 8 and as well as the Swedish League he also rides for NMK Oslo in the Norwegian League. Now to Vetlanda. Magnus Axelsson comes from the number 8 position to take Jan Andersson's number 1 spot whilst he is out injured. Magnus could well struggle in this match. Mikael Rittervall came straight into the 500cc racing and he's enjoying his third season with Vetlanda. Kenneth Nyström comes from Gothenburg and he's rated as one of Sweden's best riders, even though he is not involved on the international scene. Kent Danielsson is just 17 years old and has just moved up from the 80cc class. He comes in to replace Klaus Iversen, that's Connie's brother, who is out with a broken leg. Connie Iversen has had a very successful season so far, dropping just 7 points all year. He didn't want to continue his British League career with Swindon, but we'll see him in action again soon in the Intercontinental Final in Vetlanda. Connie Samuelsson is the veteran on the side at 42 years old. He rode for Oxford back in 1969 and we saw him in action during our ice racing coverage. Teddy Jonsson is the newest member of the side after moving up from the First Division club, Motala. And Michael Carlson is enjoying his second season in the Vetlanda side and he's their number 8. So that's the lineup. Before the action gets underway, let's speak to local favourite Tony Olsen. Then it's straight into the action with Bob Bradford. Well, Tony, we've seen you in the British League, we've seen you in a lot of international meetings, but here you are tonight on your home track.
Yeah, it's great to be home again, and we've done a few home meetings this year, but it's great when Screen Sport and all you can be here as well, and we can show it around in the Europe. We'll be fine.
That's very nice. And you're against Vetlanda tonight, and they're without their top rider Jan Andersson. Do you think this is going to be an easy one?
Well, it won't be an easy one. It's just a shame that Jan can't be here because he is a really good rider, and they're missing Connie Iverson's brother Klaus as well. And I think they're gonna give us a run for the money anyway, but we're gonna do what we can do.
Now, you've had a good season, and usually when a rider has a good season it's down to some kind of sponsorship, and I know that's been the case here for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has indeed, and that Cementa company one is my head sponsor. They've been very keen to me, and without their help I wouldn't have been in England and I wouldn't be in the class I am at the moment. I just hope I can go a bit further.
Well, we're fortunate enough to have Lars Modin of Cementa here. Lars, perhaps you can tell us, first of all, how you got involved with Tony.
Yeah, it's a company policy to support talent sportsmen of this island, and Tony, he's the most talent youngster that has been brought up, come through this during the 80s. And we are very glad of supporting him, and we hope that he finally one day will become a world champion.
So Heat 2, the rider to watch is the man in red, Tony Olsen. Local star, comes from the island of Gotland. Olsen then in red. Only second out of the start, it's Kenneth Nystrom in white who holds the first bend lead. Olsen attacks around the outside. Plenty of room to race on this track. Big drive around the outside. Is Nystrom going to push him wide? No, he sticks to his line and pays the price. Olsen waves to the crowd as he hits the front. What a showman. Tremendous piece of showmanship there from Tony Olsen. And what a spill in third place there. The rider in yellow, Kent Danielson, coming down. Luckily, blue, Kenneth Lindby avoided him, so no injury. He's off the track and the race continues. Tony Olsen then, a British league rider with the Reading Racers since October 1986. Fast improving 23-year-old Swede. 1 lap to go, and he's some 30 yards now in front of Kenneth Nystrom. Gothenburg base, but joined Jan Andersen and moving to Vetlanda a couple of years ago. He's in second place, and third, Kenneth Lindby. Coming up to take the checkered flag, gets a bit of grip, Tony Olsen! And 4-2 to Bizana, they now lead by 8 points to 4. Heat 3 and Bizana's winter signing, Brian Karger from Denmark, wears red. The big opponent, Connie Iversen, the Intercontinental finalist, in white, next to him at the gate. Let's see how this one shakes down. Karger having a slight edge from the inside, Iversen in second place. And it's Brian Karger from Denmark. Each Swedish Elite League team are allowed one foreign rider. And Brian Karger got the nod to come into the Bizana team this season, and he's been doing a great job for them. Connie Iversen has only dropped 7 points before tonight's meeting, and of course he's only 5 rides away from an appearance in the 1988 World Final, but at the moment he's having to give second best to Brian Karger. Third place is local boy Dennis Löfqvist. He's the son of the late great Christer Löfqvist, and at the back 42-year-old Connie Samuelson, rode for Oxford back in 1969. But the action's all up front, and it's Denmark's Brian Karger. Also rides for Swindon in the British League, Diedenbergen in the West German League. Probably one of the most travelled international riders on the scene at the moment, but fast improving. Just half a lap to go around the last 2 turns. Here at Visby, and Brian Karger's going to take the checkered flag first, with Connie Iversen second. A great wheelie, that's 4-2 again to Bizana, and they now lead by 12 points to Vetlanda 6. Heat number 4 in under the Swedish Elite League formula. This brings out the 2 reserves from each team. Michael Löfqvist wears red, Christian Kitte Hultgren blue, Teddy Jonsson white, Mikael Karlsson yellow. So they come to the tapes for this reserves race, heat number 4. And it's the rider in red, Michael Löfqvist, who makes the start, goes a little bit wide. Inside him dives Teddy Jonsson. All sorts of mayhem on that bend, my word. And it's the rider in yellow, Mikael Karlsson, who only came into the team at the last minute. He snatches the lead. And at the moment it's looking good for Vetlanda. They're holding first and second places through Karlsson and Jonsson. So Vetlanda 6 points down. This is good news for them. All sorts of mayhem coming out of that first turn, but it seems the 2 Vetlanda lads have now got this track best weighed up. Karlsson in front. He came in basically because of Jan Andersen's injury. Just behind him, Teddy Jonsson. And closing up the rider in blue, Kitte Hultgren, who is the prospective brother-in-law of Tony Olsen. And Hultgren dives through with a lap to go. Well, certainly quite a difference between these riders and the top boys in the Swedish Elite League, but this lacks nothing in entertainment. Hultgren attacking as they go into the last turn. Can Karlsson hold it? He goes very wide, and I think Hultgren's going to get the 3 points. He does. Kitte Hultgren wins the race and pulls 3 points out of the fire for Bizana. 3 points to each team. Bizana now lead by 15 points to 9. Heat 5 with Bizana leading Vetlanda by 15 points to 9. They now come to the line. Brian Karger wears red in this one. A winner first time out. The main opposition, Kenneth Nystrom, riding in the white helmet. Nystrom makes a lightning start. Karger's reflex is not always that good in the British League, and he didn't make a good start there. So Nystrom heads down the back straight first. Karger works through into second place. Already he's challenging Nystrom. Holding third, Dennis Löfqvist, and at the back, Kent Danielson. Well, Nyström looking very determined. He's been a good rider in Sweden for quite a few years now, but somehow doesn't quite make the breakthrough to the international status that so many of the other young Swedes enjoy. Karger attacks him on the outside, goes too wide. 2 laps to go. Nyström holding a tight, good inside line. Karger getting the drive around the outside. He's got him this time. Nyström attacks back on the inside. What good racing we're getting here in Gotland tonight. Tremendous stuff. Karger, 1 lap to go. Just a couple of yards in front. Nyström holding that inside line, and now Karger's pulling out a good lead. Brian Karger now looking a very class act indeed. Round the last 2 turns, they all do wheelies here. Karger takes the checkered flag first. 4-2 to Bizana. They now lead by 19 points to 11. Heat 6 with Bizana leading by 19 points to 11. Tony Olsen wears red. He's the main man in this particular race. Kenneth Lindby is his partner in blue. Vetlander, Magnus Axelsson in white, and Mikael Rittervall in yellow. And Olsen doesn't make a particularly good start. In fact, he's last going into the first turn. Tries to switch back on the inside, and inside he goes, past the rider in yellow. Past Mikael Rittervall. Now the rider in blue takes up the chase, Kenneth Lindby. Holding a good tight inside line. Rittervall just holds on. Well, they're certainly using every inch of this marvellously wide and racy Gotland track. And the race is all about second place. Lindby still attacking on the inside. The rider in white, Axelsson, trying to get up on the outside. Rittervall still holds second place. But a mile in front, it's Tony Olsen. And his sponsors, Cementa, are backing tonight's meeting here in Gotland. Swedish Speedway, of course, very much more successful than British Speedway in terms of attracting and keeping sponsors. And Cementa, in fact, sponsors Tony Olsen for his racing in England. But that battle's still about second place, and Lindby gets through with half a lap to go. Big local crowd go wild with delight. Olsen takes the checkered flag first. Lindby is second. Maximum points for Bizana. The locals go wild. 5-1. Bizana lead now by 24 points to 12. Heat 7 will feature the 2 Swedish riders who've made it through to the Intercontinental Final of the World Championship, the penultimate stage. Per Jonsson red, Conny Iversson in white. Jonsson electric out of the start, just holds the edge into the first turn. Traps Iversson on the inside. Jonsson's in the dirt, but Iversson is attacking on the inside, and he's through. This is a good ride from Conny Iversson. Rode for Swindon in the British League last year, elected not to return. Jonsson attacks back down the inside and regains the lead. Splendid racing here in Visby tonight. Per Jonsson then a star for the Reading Racers. He's always ridden with Stockholm clubs until this season. And now he makes the weekly trip across the Baltic Sea to ride here on the island of Gotland. Jonsson now, I think, in command. Iversson some 15 yards behind, not giving up, but I can't see him catching Jonsson now. In third place, it's Kent Danielsson, who's come in to replace Conny Iversson, and at the back, Lasse Andersson. Jonsson's such a natural rider, just pulls out yards coming out of that turn there. He and the bike are very much one. So Jonsson first, Iversson second, as they come out to take the checkered flag. There's the wheelie from Jonsson. 3 points then to each team. Per Jonsson the winner. Score now, Bizana 27, Vetlander 15. Heat number 8, Vetlander introduced Kenneth Nyström to ride in white as a tactical substitute. And Nyström it is who makes a very good start on the inside. Brian Karger, the home star, just missing out. He's last around the first turn, pulls a wheelie. And it's the rider in blue, Dennis Löfqvist, who snatches the lead on the outside. Nyström comes back. Karger now desperately trying to get through into third place. Almost 3 abreast coming out of that turn. My word, what spectacular action we're seeing tonight. Nyström holding the lead. Löfqvist is going to attack again. Third place is still Rittervall. And at the back, Brian Karger. This is a surprise. Great racing coming out of that turn. And again, Löfqvist regains the lead. Karger now through to third. He attacks Kenneth Nyström. Nyström then tries to come back at Löfqvist, but Karger's got the pressure on. Dennis Löfqvist, local boy, holding the lead, and Karger now charges through on the inside of Kenneth Nyström. So Bizana are setting sail and heading for home. They're looking tremendous tonight. If they win tonight, of course, they go joint top with Vetlander, top of the Swedish Elite League. Round the last 2 turns, chase to the line, my word, it's close, but Karger wins it. Löfqvist is second, Nyström third. Great racing. 5-1 to Bizana, and they lead by 32 points to 16. Heat 9, we've already had some tremendous racing tonight. This one could be another. Tony Olsen wears red, Connie Iversen white. Two of the very bright young stars of Swedish Speedway today. A lot of tape pushing tonight. That's legal in Sweden. And it's the Vetlanda pair who make the start. Iversen in front, Ritterval holding second place, but Olsen dives inside coming out of the first turn. Connie Iversen then holding the lead as they come round the pit bend for the first time in heat number 9. Tony Olsen giving chase. He won't want to be beaten tonight in front of all his home fans here on the island of Gotland. But Iversen's a very tough customer to beat in the Swedish league and also a rapidly rising star on the world scene. Great battle for third place too at the back. Olsen in all sorts of problems. Oh, Ritterval dived through into second place. Lindby then took him, and Tony Olsen all of a sudden at the back. Olsen now comes back through to claim third place. Up front, looks around to see what's happening. Connie Iversen. Olsen is back into second place. Tremendous racing between Ritterval and Lindby for third spot. Down the back straight for the last time. Iversen in front. Olsen second. Is neck and neck for third place as they race round the third and fourth turns for the last time. Iversen wins. Olsen second. Lindby third. What tremendous racing we're getting tonight. No wonder they say Swedish Speedway is currently the best racing in Europe. 3 points to each team now, and Vetlanda have 19 points. Home team Bizana way ahead on 35. Heat number 10, and as the match, it's been over for rather a long time because Bizana holding a big lead over Vetlanda, but my word, the quality of the racing is quite exceptional here in Sweden tonight. Per Jonsson wears the red helmet, and he's just edged out of the start by Kenneth Nystrom in white. Nystrom's been in several great races tonight. He leads down the back straight, but Jonsson charges inside him. Per Jonsson, number 5 in the world at the moment. Many feel he can be a world champion. He holds the lead. Nystrom is second, Lasse Andersson in third place, and Kent Danielsson at the back. Well, Nystrom is not one of the best known Swedish riders, but he's been great entertainment value tonight. And whether he can attack Jonsson again, well, he tried and went very, very wide on that turn. The bends here are so wide, probably twice the width of many British tracks. So many different riding lines. The excitement is absolutely tremendous. 3 riders can dive into a turn together and you never know where they're going to come out. But Jonsson is coming out in front, a wheelie with 1 lap to go. Nystrom in second place, Andersson third, and Danielsson at the back. Big wheelie from Jonsson as he goes down the back straight. Round the last 2 turns. Plenty of time to look behind. Jonsson wheelie, 3 points to him. 4-2 to Bizana. They lead now by 39 points to 21.
Well, Brian, it seems to be going pretty well out there for you tonight.
Yeah, you know, Vetlanda is a good team, but, you know, it seems like we're going to win tonight. It's really good for us if we can win this meeting.
That's right, because it then puts you level, doesn't it, at the top of the league there?
Yeah, but now they got Jan Andersson and Claes Iversen injured, so I think we've got a pretty good chance to win the league now.
Now, that track looks very unusual to us, the shape of it. Is that typical of Swedish tracks, or is this one slightly different from the rest?
No, this is, well, I don't know all the Swedish track, but it is a bit funny, this track. But if you know the track, it's really good, but for the visitors, you know, it's a bit difficult to ride.
Now, of course, they're allowed to have 1 foreigner per team in the Swedish league, and you happen to be it.
Yeah.
What's it feel like? Does it present any problems for you?
No, not at all. You know, I know Per and Tony from England, so, you know, there's no problems at all.
Now, of course, you don't only ride in the Swedish league, you ride in the Danish league, the Bundesliga and the British league.
Yeah.
So, you know, how do you do it?
Well, you got to have a bike in each country nearly, you know, and get somebody to do the bikes for you and then fly out to all the meetings, you know, but it's very hard sometimes. But
Do you ever get a day off?
yeah, I got Thursday next week.
Oh, well, enjoy it anyway.
Thank you.
Well, Kenneth, first of all, in England, we don't see any practice before a meeting. Yet here in Sweden, you allow the away team to practice. This is obviously a good thing, yes?
Yes, you can learn the track, how it is the day you're gonna race, because every track is different every time you get to the track.
Is it only the Swedish league? Because I know you ride for Slanglar up in the Danish league. Do they do the same in that too?
No.
So it's just the Swedish league. That's very good. Now, of course, you don't ride in any international events as such. Now, why is this?
I tried to get international races, but I don't get anyone.
Now, of course, you know this is going to be beamed all over Europe, so maybe if there's any British League promoters back in England saying, he looks good, what would you do if they said, come and ride in England?
Yeah, if the price is right, I come.
Because you're doing very well out there tonight, aren't you?
Yeah, the start is very good, but then the race is not so good.
Are you a bit disappointed with the team? It must be difficult for you without Jan Andersson.
Yeah, we feel like we had lose before we come here, so we're not so pleased with that.
So the riders come to the tapes for heat number 11. Bizana holding an 18-point lead. Lots of tape touching. Quite okay in Swedish League. Finally up they go. And it's the rider in white, Connie Iversen, who makes the start. He's come in as a tactical substitute in this race, and he's got 1 win and 2 second places under his belt. Tremendous racing behind him once again on this Scotland track. Quite unbelievable how exciting it can be. So first Michael Löfqvist and then Kidde Hultgren coming through to get second and third places, and therefore make sure that Vetlanda get no race advantage from this one. Connie Iversen, then intercontinental finalist, former Swindon rider, local boy for the Vetlanda team. Started with them about 5 years ago, and he's built up from being just a promising young rider into a top international star. Into the last lap they go. Iversen, probably one of the top riders in the world, not in the British Speedway League at the moment, but he's got a good job over here in Sweden, and he likes the lifestyle too. And one can be inclined to agree with him. Iversen then taking the checkered flag. Bizana holds second and third places, 3 points to each team, and it's now 42 points for Bizana and 24 for Vetlanda. Heat 12, and we go into the first of the nominated riders' races. Should give us 3 fairly even clashes. The tapes, well, not broken that time, but my word, they were lent on by the rider in red, Dennis Löfqvist. Swedish League rules different from those employed in Britain, and who's to say which is best? Certainly we've seen a fair bit of jockeying around at the tapes tonight, but maybe not quite as much gardening as we see in British Speedway. Restart of Heat 12, the first of the nominated races. Once again, the rider in red goes forward. That's Dennis Löfqvist. A little bit naughty, but the referee does get an even start, and it's the rider in blue, Lasse Andersson, who leaps out of the gate first. Löfqvist comes past the Vetlanda opponent, Axelsson, on the inside, and they kick for home. Bizana on a 5-1, but Axelsson's a game little customer, and round the outside he comes. You can certainly wind that throttle wide open and pick up a whole lot of speed, but of course the bends cut back on you, and that's why the racing's so good here in Gotland. Just look at them. 3 riders, barely 5 yards between all of them. Axelsson round the outside, the rider holding pole position in blue as Lasse Andersson. Very promising rider 3 or 4 years ago in Stockholm, and the Exeter Falcons, when they were in the British League, once expressed quite an interest in him. Faded quite a bit since then, hasn't really made the grade, but he's doing a good job here for Bizana in heat number 12. You can't do it without supporting riders, and Lasse Andersson is kicking for home down the back straight for the last time and looking good for 3 points. Dennis Löfqvist in second, one last lunge around the outside from Axelsson, ridden a brave race, but Andersson wins. It's 5-1 for Bizana. They now lead by 47 points to 25. Heat 13, the second nominated riders race. This could be a good one. Tony Olsen in red, wanting to make up for a bad last race. Only Gase in second place. It's Mikael Rittervall who takes the lead as they head down the back straight, with Olsen giving chase. Kenneth Lindby in third place and Kent Danielsson at the back. So Rittervall, steady second string, but he's under pressure now from Tony Olsen. My word, that's close. Gave him a very good nudge going into that turn and moved him right over. Rittervall hits back though. And closing also in third place, Kenneth Lindby. Well, Rittervall gets into all sorts of trouble there, trying to challenge Olsen, and leaves just enough of a gap for Lindby to come through. Well, these good folk from the island of Gotland, they've been invaded over the years by the Danes. The Swedes have taken charge many times. These days they regard themselves as Swedish, but they're not being invaded by Vetlanda tonight. Tony Olsen looking very, very calm, very cool, miles in front. Partner Kenneth Lindby in second place. They're going to take another 5 points from this, and they're going to be joint top of the table after tonight's match. Here comes Olsen, shakes his fist to the crowd. 5-1 to Bizana. They lead now by 52 points to 26. So heat 14, the last one of the match, the top two riders from each team come out against each other, and this should be a cracker. It's Per Jonsson in red and Brian Carger in blue for the home club Bizana. And for opponents Vetlanda, the two riders who very much carried the flag tonight for Vetlanda, even though they've gone down rather heavily. The two are Kenneth Nystrom wearing white and Conny Iverson in yellow. So up to the tapes they come, heat number 14, and this could be the one to top them all. Nystrom, a consistently good starter tonight. He's made the start again. Carger around the outside in second place, Jonsson with him in third, and Iverson at the back. Well, Nystrom, probably the least favoured rider to win this particular race, but he's holding a good line. But he's got him attacking them inside and out. Per Jonsson on the inside, Brian Carger on the outside, and they're going to get him, I think, coming down this straight. Now Nystrom leans across Jonsson, riding a great tactical race. Almost three abreast, and in fourth place, Conny Iverson making up ground. Kenneth Nystrom just holding on. Jonsson squeezes inside. Carger tries to do the same and succeeds. Well, the home fans going wild. They've had a tremendous win tonight and also some really superb speedway racing. They say Swedish speedway these days is the most exciting racing in Europe, and we have to go along with that on the basis of what we've seen tonight. Jonsson then coming round to take the checkered flag first. Carger is second, doing a great wheelie. Nystrom is third. That is a 5-1 to round it off for Bizana. They finish with 57 points and Vetlanda 27. So tonight, Bizana go joint top of the league with Vetlanda.
Connie, not so good for the team, but you didn't do too bad.
No, I think the team spirit was a bit down today because we know we almost was beaten when we came here, when we have two riders injured now, Jan Andersson and Klaus Ivarsson, and I think that made it a little bit different.
How do you see Vetlanda going for the rest of the season now? Because you've been league champions, I think it's 3 years, isn't it? Do you think you can do it again?
Well, I hope so. It's going to be a little bit harder now, but I hope that Jan soon will be back and everything will be all right again.
Now you've got the Intercontinental final coming up, which is very, very important for you, and it's on your home track. Do you think you can scrape through?
Yeah, why not? I think that many of the other riders doesn't count on me because I don't ride in England and I've never been in the Intercontinental final before, so I think I can make it.
So maybe they think that they sort of forget you're there. Is that what you're hoping? And then you're going to come and surprise us all?
Yeah.
Now, of course, you didn't ride for Swindon this year. Couldn't agree contracts with one thing and another. Are you missing the British League racing?
I had quite a lot of meetings this year anyway, so I think it's going quite well anyway, so I hope that will be enough.
Did you enjoy the Swedish and the National League meetings?
Yeah, definitely. It was really good.
Okay, well, best of luck for the Intercontinental final.
Thank you very much.
First of all, Per, good night for you, but perhaps you can tell everybody out there, what's the difference between riding on Swedish tracks and tracks in the British League?
Well, all the material here in Sweden is all different compared to England. England's material is a bit more clay in it, so it gets a bit more grippier, and here it's quite slick here, well, almost everywhere in Sweden, and the surface is quite hard as well, so it's easy for everyone to ride, and it's hard to score points back home here in Sweden because everyone is going good.
But the tracks are nice and wide, aren't they?
Yeah, this track is quite wide, but it's a bit difficult if you don't know it because it's so sharp bends. So if you have to turn really hard and come out, and when it's like this, it was quite a lot of passing today, so it was quite good.
Talking of wide bends, there's an important event coming up soon, that's the World Pairs. Do you think Bradford's going to be able to take 6 riders in a race, and how do you rate your chances?
Oh, it's going to be really tight up there, I reckon, because with 4 riders coming into the corners, so it's always been tough up there. And well, if me and Jimmy can get out of the start and just go from there, I think we've got a pretty good chance.
Well, doesn't the Swedish Elite League provide some wonderful entertainment? Now to this week's news. The Swedish League have stated that if Peter Narlin has more than 6 outings with Swindon this year, then he could have limited commitments at home next year. So Swindon are bringing back Eric Stennon for the rest of the 1988 season in order to secure the Narling deal for 1989.